for Ariel if you're in Europe, or Tide, to make the perfume for Downy and Dawn and Pampers wipes and you name it. You need a lot of fragrance. So actually, it's a big user of fragrance. Plus, Procter & Gamble, that's another positive side. I work there. I don't have any more links. I don't have any stocks with them. So, but I still like them very much. And I know for a fact, because I was there, they were very, very strong with ethics from the beginning. So perfume ethics, but also diversity since the 80s. And me, I was there. Anywhere in the world, you find all ethnicities, all skin colors in any creative centers at Procter & Gamble, in Belgium, in Cincinnati, in England, in Kobe, Japan, and they want people to rotate, and so they have a very strict system of hiring people based on really the facts, not who you are or your skin color or your family. They have fellowships to help people, which is very unusual in the fragrance industry. They have fellowships to help the people that cannot afford to go study somewhere or to come somewhere for an internship. So they don't count on you to work for free as a summer student. It's already planned and things. Wow. So, and they are big users of fragrances. So, so there was that. Plus, as I say, in terms of fragrance ingredient, we were already very sustainable. Even when we say, maybe some people know, we use some petrol oil, crude oil, to make some fragrance ingredients. Now, what we use are the leftover of the car industry and the kerosene industry, the plane industry. We don't extract from Saudi Arabia some crude oil just from the fragrance industry. Today that happens, that's fine. We know how to extract the oil from the ground in a clean way. We know, because we need tiny quantities. The fragrance industry is a tiny, tiny, tiny industry compared to any other industry. And so our quantities are pharmaceutical quantities. We don't pollute. You don't need a tanker going from Saudi Arabia to Grasse or to New Jersey, where you have the chemical factories.
Yes.
No, we use leftovers. We use what they don't want. Even for candles, the paraffin that we use, you know, the wax that you use in candles, we use the leftover. The paraffin is not good for planes and for cars, and so we take that to burn. And it's not worse to burn paraffin than to burn a fire in your chimney or to burn soy wax, which is also a chemical, by the way. Soy wax is not natural. It's soy processed with chemicals to make a waxy thing. Now, and we don't destroy a forest. When you use soy wax, you destroy the forest, or you destroy cultures in the Midwest. When you use paraffin, you don't destroy anything. So that's why it's a very clean thing. So, voilà, so we're quite sustainable. And now we have what we call what I call super sustainable ingredients. And we have, for instance, patchouli, where we track with a GPS the farmers that go and bring their patchouli to the co-op in the big city in Indonesia, so that the farmers are really paid according to what they bring and not according to what the middle person is just gathering and stuff. We have super sustainable labels put on fragrance ingredients that are extremely hard to get. Like now at IFF, they have a For Life accreditation from EcoCert, and it's extremely hard to get, even for the farmers. It's hard to, it implies a lot of things. Of course, the ingredient is a bit more expensive, but it's really, really good. It's even more good than good for the environment. So the conclusion is, I want people to know that in terms of background or upstream, especially in fragrance ingredients, you go online, you go on the website of IFRA, you go on the website of IFF, LMR, Firmenich, Bioland, Robertet, Simrise, and you see some videos about fragrance ingredients. Think vanilla, think ylang ylang, think cinnamon, think orris, think you name it, the rose. These are not videos just for tourists. We don't have a thing just for tourists and a thing for the industry. We're too small. We only have one thing. These are true. See, I get the goosebumps because these are true videos. If one day, well, it's not open to the public, but in fact, the plantations are open to the public because it's like a field. Huh? So you can go and see the rose fields. You will see the fields. You will see they are well maintained. You will see who harvests. You will see, you might not go into the factory, but if you, I would say if you're a big reporter, so whether you're an Instagram reporter or a journalist reporter, you can ask for a visit. You will be very welcome because we want, as a France industry, to communicate the fact that we are sustainable and we have nothing to do with the problem, the issues of the fashion industry. And so people should know that. And if you buy a fragrance with more natural, the farmers will get more money and the chemists will get more money. That is also a fact. And so that's why the brand should communicate more about that. The public should demand to know how much rose there is in a fragrance, maybe not all ingredients, but at least 2 or 3 key ingredients.
Yes.
Is there really 1% of rose oil in there so that I make sure it's benefiting the Turkish or the Bulgarian farmers and not just 0.1%, which is a drop in the ocean.
Yes.
Well, but this is the beauty of the France industry. We don't communicate enough to the public because we don't sell B2C. We sell via the fashion brands, and the fashion brands, they don't deal with that. It's not their thing. But so this, voila, look on the internet, those stories, they are beautiful and they are true. When you have a hurricane in Madagascar and all the vanilla is destroyed, well, then we should be able to help the vanilla farmers. Or when the grapefruit was destroyed in Florida with a hurricane, same, it was a big trauma. So these are real stories, and I go to all these places. I see they don't expect me. I just show up. Or I've seen quite a bit, and it's quite fascinating. You see how if you go, I have not been to Egypt, but I know in Egypt, thanks to the violet leaves and the jasmine, people can bring children to schools. If you go to the vetiver in Haiti, it helped building roads to the vetiver plantations. In Africa, the French companies, they built wells so that there is enough water for the villages and of course for the vanilla or the different plants that they plant there in Africa. So like the ginger or there are some other new plants in Madagascar, and you have to bring the infrastructure if you want the plant to have enough water for you to have a good smell or enough oil. These are real stories. You cannot beat up people so that they weave more cotton to make more patchouli. It won't work. The patchouli won't grow faster by beating up the people. You know, that won't work. So, and if you don't have enough water, then you will have pitiful plants and pitiful yield, or it won't smell properly, or etc., etc. So it's people should know these stories, and we want to detach ourselves from fashion for that.
Yes, and that's news to me. I mean, just Procter & Gamble in general, I would have. First of all, I didn't realize, and maybe a lot of other people didn't realize, how they are involved with perfumery in general, for one, but also the sustainability factor is being a major mission. That's beautiful, and just being transparent.
Strict in terms of ethic and in terms of even the industry being secretive. So there are some arrangements that are not so kosher. We say not so Catholic in France, and here you would say it's not so kosher. Bon. And everybody has their own. But they have some very strict rules also between clients and suppliers, and so that everything is really ethical. And these rules also should be introduced in the fine fragrance industry, because we don't have the same thing. Same with reporting. People should disclose presents or gifts that they get, things like that. I know in the fine fragrance industry, it is not like that at all. So this should be implemented as well. Because we are going through this COVID thing, the fragrance industry was an essential industry, because even harsh products like Clorox, or like, which is another company, or like Mr. Proper, or all these cleaners, they require fragrance, and the fragrance is fully part of the formulation. And the fragrance in Mr. Proper or Mr. Clean, I don't know what it's called here in the US, Mr. Clean or Mr. Proper, yeah. The fragrance may have 20 to 40 ingredients. It's a real fragrance formula with a perfumer creating that formula. Oh yeah. And then it has to smell a certain way. It has to be long-lasting on the tiles or on the kitchen counter, etc. It has to smell clean. It cannot smell perfumey because you think then the tile is not clean. So it's a whole know-how. And that's also why the French factories during the whole of COVID were always open, working full blast. And so that's also a thing. And during COVID, they had to source the ingredients from everywhere. You cannot be missing one ingredient, otherwise you cannot make the fragrance. No, it's fascinating, basically. It's fascinating.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, when you talk about reporting, when we're talking about ethics, obviously we have, you know, that referring to those who are doing the creating, actually coming out and saying what they are working with, what is in it, what are you getting when you're spending your money on this product. Now, I know there's one of the major elements of the code is the whistleblower, right?
Yeah.
So now, in terms of us reporting on things that we see, you know, they always say, if you see something, say something, that kind of thing. How do you feel like that plays out into today's society, especially with social media being such a prominent source of communicating in regards to reporting and perfumery?
So the see something, if you see something, say something, that's the thing, at least in the New York Metro, that's what they say. Basically, if you see something dodgy happening in the metro, please call 911 or tell someone. The whistleblowing, the French industry is more based on old-fashioned practices from Europe. So all this intrigue style stuff coming from Italy in the Renaissance style, emphasized by what happened in France in the courts of France of Louis XIV, Louis XV. This has formed what we call the modern perfumery, and modern perfumery style and modern. So some of those traditions we have are still based on that. And this intrigue and or this village mentality, what we say. We had a debate among the people when we are doing this code of ethic. And it's true, the enforcement of the ethical code is going to be an interesting part. Some people say, I don't want to be snitching. Some people say, well, it's true. At the same time, some people have to raise flags when we see things that are not okay. And it cannot be just covered. So that's why whistleblowing is something that came from the US, and in Europe is still not well done or well covered or even well protected. And the whistleblower in Europe is the one being pointed at, and the people actually screwing others are actually the cool people. That's still like this a lot in Europe, I have to say. Well, at least I would say France and Mediterranean region, yes, I'm very strong with this. I know, for instance, in France, it's not cool to call the police. People will point at you if you're the one calling the police to protect you or your neighbors. And the cool guy is the one screwing others or being the bully. The bully, the bully is a cool guy, and the bullied is, the poor, he should defend himself. So that is still the mentality a lot in Europe, and this is not cool. This is not good for ethics and for honesty and for all that. So that's going to be a debate, especially the SIPC right now is based in France. So we are going to have a debate about we have to enforce. It cannot just be, otherwise there's no point in having a code if it cannot be enforced. So it's a good question how we should do it. And same in the reporting. So it could be someone from outside, so an Instagrammer or reporter, or it can be someone from the inside, because as perfumers, we see a lot. Because the perfumers are the only one to see everything from the farmers to the creative side, because we are the only one to know what's inside. Us, with the factory, We are the only one. Even the boss of the perfumers does not know what's inside a perfume. The formula, which is fine, but it's more, the perfumer have a very special position.
Yeah.
We decide what goes inside a fragrance, or we know what we can put depending on the other parameters that we are given. And the other people that know are the factory and the regulatory people. But the factory does not know what is happening with the farmers, and the factory does not know what's happening with the clients. But we hear also what is required by the clients, what we are forced to do, or what we can do. So something that's to come from the people that have access to the actual information.
Yes.
So sometimes they say it can be a reporter, sometimes it can be a perfumer, sometimes it can be someone else. It can be some salesperson, someone can be, or a client, someone can be. So it all depends. So it will be a debate. So I have it in the code. How you do it, we don't know yet. What are the consequences? I don't know yet. How do we verify? I don't know yet. Right now we make a few phone calls, or some people already told me, oh, Christophe, I see this person. Well, I observe, and it's but we have to have this debate. The French industry is not used to that debate.
Yes.
Just to have the debate, some people are like, well, no, be calm, and yes, we have to face those issues.
Yes, in fact, I was going to ask you if you've received any significant resistance to this idea.
No. Well, I don't know. I have not. Well, the people I've contacted, they were all very positive about it, and some people had questions. But I don't know. And then, as I said, with the SIPC, they are totally in favor of it as well. And so some things have to be. It's hard. It's hard to tell someone, no, we don't want any ethical code in a corporation. So that's going to be hard to justify. Now, yeah, I think it's going to change some stuff. We have to bring it further now. We have to see how it can be implied in the larger commercial projects. How it can be signed off by corporations and by perfumers, because it's two different things. We can have a corporation signing officially, but then how do you make sure every single perfumer around the world apply it? You know, it's because as I say, the enforcement of it is quite tricky, but we have to start debating about it. Yes. I'm reading at the same time here.
Yes, same here. I see someone was asking about perfume laws and wine laws. It looks like Anya was asking about
No, but the problem with the wine regulations is more a food thing, right? In wine, they don't really have the issue of composition, of creation of the mind. So I would not, what I was comparing with wine and whiskey was more quality criteria, was more education. The public education is bringing quality into an industry, and people spend more interesting for more interesting things. That's why I was comparing, but not for ethics or copyrights.
That makes sense. And I see Gabriella responded there, which makes sense. And okay, wow. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's.
If people want to ask the question again, because we missed some questions, so you can write the questions if you have. We can look.
Please feel free to retype.
Because I think I saw the question about quality. I think I answered that. Quality, good fragrance. Fragrance, long lastingness. Well, you know, there is not one recipe. Someone was asking that. It's very complicated. So there are sometimes some tables that help you, but every note, imagine you play the piano, and every note you play depends on the note you play it with. So the same is true in perfume. Depending on what other notes you have with vanilla will taste different.
Yes.
But also same with long lastingness. Depending on the combination of notes, some notes will be longer lasting in an area, but not in another one. And when I want to debunk the myth about put more oud, oud does not make a fragrance more longer lasting. I'm sorry to say. We would know by now, and I would know very well because I have some, like in Strangelove NYC. By putting more oud, you don't make it more long lasting. And in fact, it's not what solves long lastingness of those fragrances. And it's not about the quality of the wood either. Same with ambergris. It's not ambergris that makes everything long-lasting. That's not true. It's very complex.
Yes.
And then even in Angel, for instance, one green note is key in Angel. By itself is not long-lasting, but with the other notes of Angel is long-lasting, and it participates of the radiance of Angel for so long. So it's a tough one. We don't have a one recipe, but that's also why I know it's a quality criteria. When someone knows how to do something long-lasting, it's good. It's good.
Yes. And thank you for debunking those things. You know,
Yeah.
there's always a lot of chatter and a lot of hypotheses out there about.
Yeah.
You know.
And now some fragrance I like to have that I don't want to have long-lasting. Yeah? So like there's one frankincense water. So that evaporates very fast, but I like that. I just want to spray plenty. I know it won't last long. It won't disturb the rest of the day.
Yes.
So consciously, we also like things not longer lasting. Eh? Well, that's how I would say.
Yeah.
Any advice for someone trying to start a perfume brand? Oh, but that's the tough one. I mean, it's like asking, I don't know. You have to read books. You have to, I don't know. It's too long. That should be the subject of another.
Yes. And meeting.
It's like, how do you start a fashion brand? Oh, it's a very long.
I mean, connecting with people who are doing it.
How do you start a new restaurant? How do you, and you have to learn how to be a chef, and you want to start a restaurant. It's a big, there are many elements.
Yes, and meeting people who are doing it, if you can, I mean, that's always great. I see Carlos ask, don't you think that sharing a perfume formula or part of the formula is the best way to prevent a copycat?
So that's a good point too. So that's a good point too. In fact, there are a few formulas that yeah, no, that's true. I've published a few formulas to educate the public. So, and I know Saskia in LA, the Institute of Art and Olfaction, we are going to have more and more open source data to share, to educate the public and to educate young perfumers too. We want young perfumers to learn on more modern and factual things. So I think every perfumer should disclose some formulas. Now, it could also be a way to do that. At the same time, when you publish something, but there's no copyright, yes, you could point out to someone, say, oh, they just made a copy, but there's no enforcement. They wouldn't have to pay royalty. So they would be like, there could be a public shaming, saying, well, you see, just took the formula of Christophe, and then fine, and then people still buy it.
Yes.
But it's a good debate. It's a good debate. Sometimes, I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know what to say here.
You know, it's like when I think of a formula that is pretty well known, I mean, the Aventus formula, like it's gotten to the point where there's so many copies. So once you just glance at the note breakdown, you already know. It's like, okay, I see the patchouli and vanilla and pineapple and apple and blackcurrant and ambergris. You see it all. It's like, okay. And it's like, at that point, it just becomes blatant. It's like, okay, they are trying to do it. And they know that people will buy it because it's only $35, So it's like, what can you do? But yeah, the enforcement of that and copyright, that is so interesting. The idea that you can create a formula and once it is complete, you lock it in as one entity and copyright it. I mean, what do you feel like we would need to do that? Is there a governing body that exists already that we can do that with? Or we have to create some kind of new branch?
But voilà. So that was exactly my question with the other people that I'm discussing the ethical thing with. It's like we need a body to hold the code of ethics. Yes. We need a body to do the enforcement. I don't want to be the one. It's not for me. I'm starting the thing because I want this to be out there. And we have to decide who should be the guardian. So for the perfumers, we think it's going to be the International Society of Perfumers. For the other people, we don't know yet who that body should be, and then how do you enforce that? Who can judge? Who can compare to formulas? How do you?
Yes.
Well, it's tricky in music. It's tricky in movies. In movie scenarios already, we see when they say, "Oh, they stole my story for that movie." We know how it's very tricky. So it's going to be a learning process. Yes, but we have to start somewhere. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, it's not perfect. You know, and I guess there could be a fine line between inspiration and mimicking, you know.
Well, right now there are some blunt copy. Like right
yes,
now, I know because I've done it. I've taken a perfume. If you take the Mont Blanc Legend, you make the GC. You take the formula of Abercrombie, which I know very well. You compare. There is no doubt, zero,
yes,
that it is a copy. There is no doubt. A copy, and they added fluff to confuse the enemy, as we say in French. But there's no doubt. They didn't even change some ingredients to the Givaudan quality. But anyway, it's very bon. So, and there are a few others like that. So
yes.
And then we know because I know some perfumers, that's how they create. I know some perfumers, that's how they create. They take a copy of a fragrance and they make another one. And they don't know any other way to create. I know that for a fact. So what are you going to do with these perfumers once you say, we don't do this anymore? Because they have never created another way. Well, that's going to be another trouble. But well, it's not my trouble. But yes, so it's really, really entrenched. So we have to stop doing this.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Music is notes, perfume, notes, copyright, just like ASCAP. Yeah, we need an enforcer. You know, that's what it comes down to, I suppose, and a way to verify, as you had said before. So,
already to have this whole system, some people will think twice before doing it bluntly.
yes,
Plus, it means, I have to say, if you have a famous song, a #1 song, someone doesn't come to you and tells you, oh, please, can you write me the same song? You don't do that usually. I don't think so. We know there are some instances where songs, usually they are trying, like 10 years later, there's another artist picking a song and didn't say where it's from, but then people noticed. But usually it comes after a while. It's not like there's the #1. In perfumery, there's the #1. Oh, I guarantee you, within 2 months, someone comes and they want the same, and they, no, we have to stop all that. No, you have to be creative and make sure your new creation becomes the new #1. Not by copying the #1. You want a totally different style that becomes the new #1. So, voilà.
Yes.
No, it's true. It's true.
Agree.
It's you know, it's very weird that we have this in perfumery. It's very weird.
It is strange that it is not held to the same standard. When it is art, it is creation, and it is coming from the creative minds. But the idea that once it comes into the world, it's unprotected.
Plus, if you, like Jason Derulo at the moment has the #1. We had it like, what is it, Savage Love or something like that. So can you imagine going to Lady Gaga and say, can you please, or Lady Gaga coming to you, the songwriter, and Lady Gaga saying, please, can you make me the same song as Savage Love from Derulo, just change 2 notes and no, because the first thing people will say, but you're not Derulo. You're not going to sing the same tonality. It's not your style.
Yes.
Lady Gaga is going to sound like hip hop or rap or whatever now, or like R&B. No, you know what I mean. People will say, but that's not you. And even Lady Gaga would not come to the idea to have the same style as. So now we know that one song she had was a bit close to the Madonna thing, but it's as I say, like 10 years later, and it happens once in a while. But a brand, like if a brand comes to me and they've come to me and they say, oh, can you make the Fierce of Abercrombie? But I say, but you're not Abercrombie. So let's make something cool about you, but why do you want the Fierce? You're not Abercrombie. But no, people don't react this way. It's a very commodity style instead of being a creative style industry. I would say 3/4 of the way it's based at the moment is still commodity style, merchandising style, voilà. and where you just write a new brand name. Well, as I say,
Yes.
yeah, we have to change that. So we have to have initiatives to change that. And
Yes. I see Vireo Perfumes wrote, you know, how can we encourage more creativity? Um, I think, you know, even like you said, having the debate alone, like the just the very idea of creating this, of making this
yeah,
a physical manifestation in the world. Or I mean, obviously there's no enforcement yet, but the fact
yeah,
that it's out there,
yeah,
everyone
voilà.
can see it, and you see it, and it just makes you think critically about yourself. As you said, you know, we have to, yeah, once people see it, it's very blunt, and it's like, oh, okay, so they're looking now, or someone
Yeah,
is
voilà.
looking now, you know, and
I
obviously
think
educating the public is big too.
that's also what's new with the. Um, we used to have bloggers, but they were less educated at the beginning when blogging started. I don't know if it was like 15 years ago or 20 years ago even. And then I have to say now that's also new. Whether you call it Instagrammers, bloggers, but call it the way you want, people are more and more educated. And so I know the brands, even the Friends Foundation, I've noticed too, they know that they are watched and they know that people will be more vocal. That's also the thing. People were not saying anything before in the French industry. First of all, there was no platform, but also, bon, and Vogue magazine, Cosmopolitan magazine, they are not into these things, so they were not doing investigations like that. And but now there are enough platforms where people can be vocal about what is done and stuff. And so exactly what you say. Now that this is out there and they see that people are more educated, they know, so they will have to be more careful. And so now the next thing I want is people to be more vocal about ingredients, and the public has to ask, okay, who am I helping here? Where is my budget going when I'm buying this fragrance?
Yes.
And I need to explain more about where does the money go when someone buys a fragrance. People should know, because I think people have no idea. And yeah,
Yes.
it's true. It's true. And brands in fashion like Everlane, or in candles like Keep Brooklyn in candles, they explain when you buy a candle, I've done all the fragrances, so I know them well, and they explain that. But Everlane, it's a fashion brand. They show the factories in Peru, in Vietnam, and they show pictures. But they also show the breakout. If you buy a shirt for $80, you have $20 that goes here. You have $10 that go there. They show that. So perfume brands should do the same. And I need to show right now what it is, so that it's better, because it's the proportion that goes to the farmers, the perfumers, the chemists, and the factories is ridiculous. Is ridiculous for something where everybody says it's about art and about perfumery with capital P. And I'm not saying I want more. I'm saying we have to go from ridiculous to fair. Well, that's what I'm saying right now. When it goes too fair, we can debate. But right now, it's ridiculous. So I need to explain that.
Yes.
And then we'll do.
Yes, that's a good place to start, for sure. I see Alec has said, are arbitration rules possible for the fragrance community? For example, formula and scent profile released only behind closed doors between committee arbitrators to settle disputes and allegations of copying.
That's a very good suggestion, actually. But with analysis, we could already see quite a bit if two formulas are similar. And with the analysis, you get a lot of information. But another possibility, we haven't thought so much yet about arbitration, but that could be another possibility where we say it could be that, okay, show us the exact formula, and no, it's true. That could be, maybe makes even things easier. That's true. I think the most people are resistant, the more it means it's dodgy. There is that too. There is that too.
No, I
Now,
agree.
coming back to Carlos, it's true also. One thing at P&G that we learned is that, because P&G, they patent also a lot of technologies, they were saying, you know, when you're copied, it means you're always at the forefront.
Exactly.
So because you're already on the next thing, but still, you still have to profit for some things you brought on the market. And I think it's true in every art. I think for the life of the artist, plus 70 years after the death of the artist, I think, people are protected and people get some fruit, whether it's royalties or whatever, from that creation. So there's no reason why we should not have the same story for us. Or for the perfume house. I'm just saying, if the formula belongs to IFF or Firmenich, when you employ it there, but just like if the article belongs to the New York Times, well, the New York Times should get the fruit of that article for a while. So it should be the same for the perfume industry.
I agree. See some questions coming in, some thoughts. It might get tricky with formulas being weighed in grams and such, but I'm sure we'll get a percentage that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, this is, no, it's not a problem. Percentage or grams is the same. Because the percentage, what's the percentage? It means percent, means per 100. Cent is 100 in French. Per 100 something. So percentage is per 100 grams. We do all in grams. We don't do in volume anymore. But yeah, so it's per 100 grams, per 100 kilo, per 100 milligrams is the same. That's what it means. It's the same.
Yes.
Voilà.
Okay.
So,
well, Christophe,
I hope it inspires people.
Yes. I mean, again, even the debate it's profound. It, you know, just really having critical eyes on the industry in this way, even if there's nothing we can do to change what people do, or you know, at least the conversations can
you can always
encourage.
Inquire.
Yes.
You can always inquire. The first answer, I guarantee you, will be, we do not communicate about and then you have to insist.
Yes.
You say no, but I'm sorry, we cannot be it cannot be trusted. We need to know. And I guarantee you, so some brands will start communicating more. And I think smaller brands, I know, well, first I do it on they're not even my brands, but I know when I say there is 4% natural daffodil in the Strangelove NYC, I did not ask them if I can say it. I know they like me to say that. I'm not going to say the whole formula, but to give some really hard data like that, I know it helps to make a difference with other, you know. So now even big brands will have to open about that. And when they don't, it means vendors don't go there. And so the public has to ask. There is no reason why we can, if you buy a dish with truffle and the dish is $30 more expensive because it has truffle or lobster, and then the dish comes and you don't see one truffle or one lobster, you'll be like, excuse me?
Yes.
So you can say, yeah, but it's all pureed, and you'll be like, hey, give me a break. So you will trust, however, the chef that you've trusted before because he or she gave you more information. And you say, yeah, because in a particular dish, I guarantee you there is 10% truffle, but it's true. It's pureed with other stuff because you'll be like, okay, I believe this. But you know, you have to have a process. It has to start somewhere. And so here now, and we have to help those farmers everywhere. We have to help the chemists and we have to help the perfumers. I'm sorry. We have to be treated like other entities.
Yes.
So that's the force of the public now is, let's say, we need semi-transparency, we could call it, and we need hard data, and we need to know where those dollars are going. And then people can choose better. And anyway, some brands will do it. And the fashion brand will have a harder time because in a bottle of Armani, in a bottle of Jimmy Choo, there's $1 that goes back to the perfume oil. So goes the perfumer and the factory and the quality control and the logistic department and the farmer and the chemist is all paid by this $1 in a $65 perfume. Yes, people should know that. When you know that, you know that we are not asking for luxury or we are not, no. In a $65 perfume bottle, there should be $5 going to all together, the perfumer and the farmers and the chemist and the factory and the logistic. I think that's not too much asking.
No, and 5 seems too low.
Voilà. So, but if you tell them instead of $1, give us $2, they up in arm and they say it won't work, the business model. No, so then you buy, then don't buy from the fashion brands. So that's why we need to establish some things like that. I know some people are going to kill me for this, but it's enough now. I think we deserve the same as music and painting and cooking and architecture and we want more for the ingredients and we want more for the perfumers. The perfumers, they need also more time researching new structures. You don't invent new structures every day if you just have to scramble. So yes, it is more expensive to pay perfumers to do just searching. And so that's part of it. No, we have to modify this a bit. Yes, $1. I said I published that already, like maybe 10 years ago in Women's Wear Daily. People didn't register, but I think now people are ready for that. And as I say, Everlane, they explain how their dollars are spread. Key Brooklyn, the candles, they explain. More and more sustainable brands explain that. The wine, if you know Naked Wine, go on to nakedwine.com and they explain also that how that works. So I want to take that model and explain how this is split in perfumery when in between you have it's not the fragrance house, it's not IFF Firmenich, God bless them. They are really squeezed, but it's the group in between. There is L'Oreal in between, then there is Armani, and then there is the store, Macy's. And then it goes to the consumer. So Macy's, Armani, L'Oreal, they get the big tranche. And yes, Armani has a big selling power, so fine. But voilà, people should know all that. And then they can decide, and I think there is room for another style of splitting the knowledge and the know-how and the ingredients. Because we can see how the ingredients are damaged or how we could use much more. Every perfumer wants to use more ingredients, more valuable ingredients. That's every perfumer wants more of that. And I think we can achieve that.
I think so too. And I think this is the beginning of a very necessary new era and paradigm. And I appreciate you just kind of putting yourself out there with your platform, with your experience, and fearlessly declaring what is right and what is not. So thank you, Christophe.
Yeah, I think it's, well, I don't like excesses. And some things we can debate, but some things are really excessive or too extreme, and we should correct that.
Yes, totally.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Christophe, thank you for everything. Thank you for just sharing just uninhibitedly. We appreciate your insight and your opinion. And
thank you for organizing this. I hope it helps people a little bit. And me on my side, I need to write more about this so that we diffuse this more. So that's my plan. I've started to write some things down, but I need to make it in a consistent document and things. So it's a little bit, takes a while, but voilà.
Yes, this is the beginning, I suppose. And,
fabulous.
Thank you, Gabriella, for help making this
Thank
possible.
you.
Really appreciate you.
And
thank you, everyone, for watching and commenting. Really appreciate your viewership. It means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
So we'll sign off. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thanks,
Yes. Bye.